Good morning. It's Wednesday, and I'm here on Revere Beach with the Revere Beach, some members from the Revere Beach Partnership. I was so happy to come down this morning and meet with these lovely ladies for the beginning of the 2015 Revere Beach Sand Sculpting Festival. And I'm here with Rosalie Vincent. Rosalie.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to Revere Beach.
Carol Ty.
Yes, welcome again. It's a wonderful, wonderful occasion and a beautiful day today. We hope everyone comes to join us.
Kathleen Heiser.
Good morning. We're having a great time down here. It's beautiful. It's exciting. It's going to be fun.
Carol Haney.
Yeah, and here I am too, and welcome to everyone. And everyone come down and enjoy what we're enjoying right now, which is a beautiful, beautiful day on a beautiful beach with our Sandcastle Festival.
Adrian, you may have been the only one here at 8 a.m. for the horn going off. Tell us what happened this morning.
So officially the sculptors wait every morning for Meredith to blow her horn, which signifies the start of the competition. They run from 8 o'clock until noon. Then they have 45 minutes off for lunch. And at 12:45, they're back at it until 5 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 8 to 1:30.
So let's get an update from Meredith and let's watch it all begin.
Welcome back to the continued coverage of the 2015 Revere Beach International Sand Sculpting Festival. Today was the actual beginning of the competition. So the competitors were out here at 8 o'clock in the morning waiting for the horn to blow. The second that horn blows, they're allowed to go onto the plots. They can do all the preparation off the plot. The second the horn blows, they're allowed into the plot, and they can start moving the sand and using the water and doing their pound up. That happened all morning, and they had lunch. I haven't seen anything up to this point, but usually after lunch, some of them do actually get to the carving on the very first day. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go take a look at how big the pound ups are. You're going to see that the duos are larger than the solos, and we're going to see if anybody has started their actual sculpting. Okay, we are at plot number 1, and this is Kevin from Australia and Leonardo from Italy. Can't see Leo right now. He might be on the other side. We mentioned yesterday that the way some of the sculptors do their pound ups are going to be different, and they have different techniques. You'll see the big pile of sand back here where Kevin is shoveling from now. When they put their first form down, which is the large one right behind Kevin's feet, they put the form towards the front and flat on the ground, and then shoveled the sand into that first form. So they're using the pile that was given to them to shovel into those forms. And when we get to another sculpture that used a different technique, we'll show you that technique for comparison. Up there's Leo. Hi, Leo. Okay, we're at Morgan and Abe. This looks like to me a very strategic pound up. Some of them when you look at them, they're just a pile here, a stack of forms here, a stack of forms here. But you can see they obviously have a very specific plan for the way that their forms are set up. You have the one far over to the right, and it is actually dug. You can see it's dug down into the natural beach sand. They removed some natural beach sand so that they could get a nice flat level there. And they're very strategically placing these forms, and it'll be really interesting to see what their plan is, what their idea is for the reasoning of this, the configuration of their pound up. Okay, we're with Suzanne and Hanneke from the Netherlands. This is our only all-female team, which is really exciting. But don't let that fool you. These girls can move some sand. And you can see something that they're doing, which is another strategic move, is to do one pound up and then actually take some of the wooden forms off and reuse them for another pound up. It's not that they don't have access to enough, wood to do it all in one. It's just that it's a more strategic way for them. They don't have to put all those forms together all at one time. Yesterday, they can do it as they go, just in case they change their mind and decide that they want to change a size for a form. It gives them that flexibility. Okay, we're in the front of Hanukkah and Suzanne's pound up, which I didn't see coming from the other direction. And this is another, we talked about Morgan and Abe, how they had something strategic going on. There's a very definite reason that they have these forms placed where they do. You can see there's one in the back, one over here, and one over here. And there's a definite reason for that. They might be creating some type of a puzzle where if you stand in one spot, you're going to get an illusion of a completely different sculpture using all three of these pound ups. And I'll be interested to see if that is in fact the case. Okay, this is David from Canada and Ilya from Russia. And this is an exciting team that we're really looking forward to seeing what they're going to create. You haven't seen the comparison yet because we haven't been down to the solos, but you see in most of these pound ups so far, there are numerous pound ups. They've got a main one and one off to the side. They may have 3 or 4. They've got different configurations. And you're probably not going to see that or as much of that down in the solos. One reason, there's only one person down there. Over here, you can have one person in the box where Ilya is and David shoveling up to him. So you're getting 2 things done at once in the same amount of time. Whereas when you're down at the solos, they're going to have to do that all by themselves. Another reason is they have a whole lot more sand. They also have double the man hours because there are 2 people. So yeah, you're going to see a lot larger sculptures at this end and more elements involved in each piece. Okay, you also see that Ilya is pouring the, he has the hose, and obviously there's so much water that's used in this process. Every grain of sand that goes in there has to get wet. But that's also what makes it so strong. Dry sand does not stay together. But in order to do that, you can see David's bringing another form over right now. They're going to put that on top there. But on every single form, you see that plastic. What that does is actually Dave is fixing a piece of it right now because you don't want to lose your water. If you lose your water, you can lose your sand with it, and it actually runs out the side. We call it a blowout. So to prevent blowouts, they put the plastic and it puts a seam on every, it seals in every one of those seams where the wood meets. Okay, we're with Steve from Rhode Island and Deb, local from Saugus, Mass. Something that you see on this pound up that you haven't seen on the other pound ups is this strapping right here. This strapping is an extra security so that they don't have blowouts. There's so much pressure inside those forms, and depending on how you do your pound up, sometimes there's more pressure than others, depending on how much water you use and how much actual pounding you do. So Steve does use this all the time. Every time I've seen Steve compete, he does use the banding. And he doesn't have collapses, so something must be working there. Another thing that happens sometimes is the artist will have to stop in the middle of a pound up and refer back to their drawings, their sketches or something. They might want to change once they have one of their pound ups completed. They might want to change the location of the second pound up. The first one might not have ended up in exactly the place that they wanted to, so they have to refer back to their drawings. Also, you'll see this looks, where Deb is right now, looks completely different than this pound up over here. So far, everybody you have seen has been using wooden forms. Steve, we provide wood. We do not provide this plastic. So if they want to use the plastic, they have to bring it themselves. Steve did bring this with him. He traveled with the plastic, and it's just another method. Sometimes you don't want to do a square form. You want it to be round for, depending on whatever it is that you're going to be sculpting. And sometimes round works better than square or rectangle. So what they do in that case is the same as the wood, but they use clamps. You'll see C-clamps holding it together for whatever size they need, and they tape the edges or put plastic just like the wooden forms, but it's now going to be a round shape instead of straight lines. Okay, we're now at the south end, and we just entered into the solos area, and right away it's completely obvious to me a difference between the solos and the duos. And if you haven't noticed it already, just by this shot, this angle, every single one of the sculptors from my view here is already carving and well into their carving. And the reason for that is when they plan their pieces, this is the solo division, and they will plan to use approximately 20% of their total time on their pound up. And they have that figured out that that's about the right amount of time to use in order to finish their sculpture in the appropriate time, the amount of time that's allotted to them. So most of the solos have their pound ups done by lunch on the first day because that's approximately 20% of their total time. Whereas in the duos, they have 60 hours, so their percentage of time is a little bit different than in the solos. So that is a reason, and of course there's more sand, that's the reason they haven't started sculpting yet. Okay, we're at Dan Doubleday. He's from Florida. He's also my husband, but I have nothing to do with the judging, so nothing suspicious there. You'll see something in Dan's that we saw in Steve Tapazio and Deb's pound up, that they had banding around their forms. Dan also has banding, but Dan's is a little bit different. Steve traveled only from Rhode Island, and he drove, so he was able to bring his banding with him. If you're going to travel with that kind of banding that Steve had, it's very heavy. So what Dan has done as an alternate is nylon. There's nylon running through this tape. It's a nylon banding tape, and it's very strong. And all he has to do, it's very easy to travel with, very light. He only needs one roll of it. It adds the same strength, or gives the same strength that Steve's strappings did. And all he has to do is take a utility knife and cut on the seams, and it will release that banding when he's ready to do that. Okay, I did make a comment that Dan Doubleday is my husband, but he does not show me or tell me what he's going to be carving. And I'm thinking and I'm hoping that this might be something to do with our lives. Dan and I just got married in April, and it looks to me like this is going to be a couple, and that might be me putting my arm around him. I'm not sure, but we'll see where this goes. I have not seen any sketches or drawing for this piece at all. Okay, we're at Benjamin's site, and Benjamin is from Acapulco, Mexico. What he's doing right now is he's finished with his pound up, and he has taken off some of his forms, but he's reusing his forms to help him because he doesn't want to take all of them off because he wouldn't be able to reach the top. But also, you'll see he's only stepped in 2 or 3 inches on each level. So he does not have a comfortable place. If he doesn't build this platform, he doesn't have a comfortable place to stand and actually do the carving. So that's what he's done. He's taken a couple of minutes to make that platform, and now he'll be able to freely sculpt the top 2 forms of his sculpture. Okay, we're with Melaneige, and she is also from Canada. She has a picture in her hand, you can see in her left hand there, and that's reference. That's a lot of sculptors, you'll see them using. That's not necessarily at all what she's carving, but that might just be an element, and I'm guessing that it's the positioning of that woman's head. That's what she's looking back at the picture maybe every once in a while for reference, just so she's got anatomy correct and in the proper places. Good to go. Okay, Melaneige also built herself a platform, but she's already got all her forms off. What a lot of the sculptors do is they do that because proportion-wise, you don't want to lose your proportion and start off at a smaller than it needs to be or larger than it needs to be. Larger than it needs to be, you can always cut it down a little bit, but it's nice to get an overall idea of the size of the pound up you're working with and how you're going to carve into it. Melaneige is a very strong carver. It's very physical. That sand is compacted so hard that it's a lot of work carving it all away like that. Okay, we're with Jonathan Bouchard, who we know and lovingly refer to as Joby. Joby has most of his forms off. Again, he's getting a general idea and blocking out to give to make sure he's got everything properly proportioned. He's already got quite a bit of detail. You can see he's planning something on the back here, or this could be the front. I don't know. It's way too early to try and even figure out what they're doing. But you can also look, he's finished this pound up, but he has a lot of sand over here. So he has plans for that sand, whether it's using it soft pack, or in doing another pound up at some other point, but he will end up using all that sand. Okay, we're with Ongoron David from Brussels, and you can see he also is in the blocking out phase of his sculpture, trying to find, you can see the beginning of a face happening right here, the nose, the positioning of the nose, and that when they're doing a face, that's usually the first thing they do is they will find the eyes and the nose and work from there. Okay, we're with Guy Olivier Deveau. He is also from Canada. You'll see he's got a platform, but he's using his a little bit differently. His needed to be a bit higher because he's up on a higher part of his sculpture, but he's in a pretty comfortable position there. He's just sitting and chilling and finding where certain elements are going. It's almost like you can see their brains, the gears in their brains. Where do I want to carve? Where's my next stroke of the margin trowel going to be? And you could stand here and watch them for an hour, and it changes so much in just that short time. There's so much that happens in such a short amount of time. It's just interesting to watch. This is nice for me because I don't always get the opportunity to actually watch them carving, and it's fun. Now he's also started something kind of the section that he's carving on right now, but he hasn't carved above it. And again, he's finding where he wants certain things to be. There's no sense starting at the top with any detail when you haven't established down below where you want it to go. So he's putting all those elements together, and the top part up there, that'll all be very clean and sharp and or detailed by the time we see a finished product here. And hi, we are with Pavel now. Pavel is from Russia. Pavel's still doing his pound up, but this is a lot of sand. You'll notice down below he has a pad of about maybe 18 to 20 inches of sand without a form around it. If the sculptor wants to use the sand without a form, that's entirely up to them. They're allowed to do that. And in this sand, it's not as risky as some other sand, but they do still have to treat the sand. All that sand does still have to get wet, or he runs the risk of collapsing, because you've got so much wet, heavy sand on top of dry sand. So if he doesn't compact that sand, he could, that's when you could have stress fractures and stuff. And how they compact the lower sand without having wood around it is they poke holes down into the sand and fill the holes with water and do the wet mushy mush thing down in there. So this is also a lot of sand. This is a large form for a solo competitor. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with this. Now you'll notice his is not as high as some of the others. And the reason being is that he has used so much sand with this size of a form, and they all have the same amount of sand. So he has just used his sand in a different way. And then sometimes it just gets too hot and you have to step away from that pound up for a minute. This is Marielle Hiesels. She's from the Netherlands, and she's just taking time out to hydrate. She also has a good sized pound up going on, and maybe the pound up is finished. I can't see inside that top box. And sometimes you have to let it sit for a minute, depending on how much water you used in the top form. You can't take the wood off right away. You have to let it sit for a minute. Okay, this is Sue McGrew. She's from Tacoma, Washington. Hi, Sue. Hi. I don't know if I've ever been to a competition where Sue was carving the first day.
No, I don't think it's ever happened.
Yeah, but don't let that fool you, because she can carve as fast as she is slow with the pound up. How's that, Sue?
Yeah.
Actually, she's not slow. She's just strategic. She paces herself, and she can carve fast, believe me. So what may take her some time doing the pound up, she surely makes up for in the carving part of it. Okay, this is Dan Belcher, and he is from St. Louis, Missouri. Dan's got a pretty large pound up, and he already has 3, maybe, I don't know how many levels there were, but it looks like 1, 2, 3, maybe 3.5 levels. And what he's doing right now is finding the piece. I don't know what he's sculpting. Let's say he was sculpting an elephant. Well, right now he's finding the elephant. He has such a large bulk of sand that you can't start and do detail. You have to block out. You have to move around continuously. He's here right now. He'll be around. He'll go all the way around this sculpture 2 or 3 times before he's, before he finds exactly what it is he's looking for in this sculpture. He'll stand back just like that. He'll look. They look at proportion. They look at placement. They may look back at their reference material. You don't just get up there and create in 10 minutes. I mean, it takes a lot of time and a lot of experience.
That was great. Meredith is awesome. Okay, so I'm back with Adrienne McGuire, and we're going to talk about some new things starting today. So what do we have today beginning?
Well, first we have our sand sculpting lessons for the children who come down to the beach, so that's always a great addition. We have those Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 10 a.m., 11:30, and 1. So you come down the day that you want to take a lesson, and you can sign up with Sandy and Ray, and they'll teach all of the kids how to make a sand castle, which is great.
Okay, that's great. So let's go to Sandy and see her right now.
Hi, I'm Sandy Castle Sterling from Dundas, Ontario, Canada, and I'm here at the 2015 International Sand Sculpting Competition in Revere Beach. I am teaching sand sculpting lessons, so I have been doing this maybe about 5 years now teaching, and everybody from the age of 5 to 12 or the young at heart can come on down and sign up for the lessons. They start actually today, Wednesday at 10, 11:30, 2 o'clock, and 3:30, and they run Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, finishing at 2 o'clock. So come on down. I'm going to teach how to build a sand castle using a plastic spoon, plastic knife, and a plastic fork, and you'll end up building something fantastic. I guarantee it. So come on down and enjoy the fun in the sun and the sand and learn from Sandy and Raymond.
Okay, and we're back. Thanks, Sandy. That was great. We have one more piece with Dan has completed all his interviews with the sculptures, but we have one more interview that Dan is going to do, and we'll take you to that right now.
Okay, this is Dan Belcher back again, and one thing I want to tell you about the greatest thing about coming to Revere is you come back year after year, you get to know the people, and the people are what make this event so wonderful. One year I was working, and this gentleman asked me he said, "You're from St. Louis?" He said, "My brother's in St. Louis," and like that, suddenly he was my buddy. This is Joe Glicksman.
Thank you. This is quite a feat every year. It's nice. The people love it. We like it. We like it a lot. As long as the weather stays nice, this is going to be a big year. Thank you.
And then Joe brings down his buddies. We got Skippy here. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank
Okay.
you, and for the interview. You guys are unbelievable.
Well, thank you,
We
sir.
look forward every year for you guys. Believe me.
Well,
It's
yeah,
good to
every year we're here, you guys show up, and then we got Mike here.
Hey, you guys do a fantastic job every year. It gets better and better.
Thank you, sir. And then we got Steve showed up here too.
Hi,
Came
hi
up
everybody.
by.
You know, Joe's probably looking for something though. That's the only reason he comes down here.
But these guys come by every day to check on not only how the sculpture's going, but to see how we're doing, and to show you how much. Bring me a nice iced coffee. Can you get any more family than that? I don't think so. Thanks, guys.
It was 15 seconds.
Appreciate it, guys. You guys are what makes it so special. Truly appreciate it. Thanks.
And we're back. That's so great, Dan. It's so nice to see that people come back here every year to the beach, and they almost build relationship with these sculptors, especially that with Dan. But I had a woman this morning who came back, and she had kind of a relationship also with Joby, that she wanted me to take a picture with her and Joby this morning. They come back, a year after year after year, and they actually build a relationship. So it's really great, to see this happening. So, this is Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. We continue our coverage. We hope you're watching us. Either on YouTube or on Facebook. I'm Debbie DiGiulio. We're wrapping up for today. We'll see you tomorrow.